I used to believe in love, not the fairy tale kind, but the real kind, the kind where two people choose each other, and that choice matters. I don't believe that anymore, not because I'm cynical, but because I watched that belief die slowly over years, through experiences that proved again and again that love in my world is not what I thought it was. Today I'm going to tell you why I stopped believing in love, not as one moment, but as a slow erosion, a series of cracks that eventually shattered everything. When I was younger, I believed love was powerful, that it could survive obstacles, that if two people cared enough, they could find a way. I believed that love was a choice, that you chose someone and they chose you. And that mutual choice created something unbreakable. I believed that love mattered, that it was valuable, that it deserved protection, that it was worth fighting for. I didn't believe in fairy tales. I knew my life was complicated. I knew duty existed. I knew expectations were real. But I believed love could coexist with all of that it didn't have to be one or the other, that I could fulfill my role and still have something real. That belief wasn't naive. It was hope. Hope that my life could include both, that I didn't have to choose between duty and desire. That balance was possible. I held that belief tightly because it was the only thing that made the future bearable. The belief that love, real love, would survive, that it was stronger than systems, stronger than expectations, stronger than duty. I was wrong. The first crack came when the palace discovered my relationship, not through confession, through observation. And the moment they knew, everything changed, not immediately. But the pressure began, subtle pressure, questions about my schedule, comments about appropriate choices, reminders of responsibilities. None of it directly addressed the relationship, but all of it was about the relationship. I thought if I explained, if I showed them she was good, if I proved the relationship wasn't reckless, they would accept it. They didn't, not because she wasn't good enough, but because she wasn't part of the system. And the system doesn't accommodate unknowns, no matter how good they are. That was the first crack. The realization that love, no matter how real, doesn't matter if it conflicts with structure. I still believed love could survive, but that belief became weaker, less certain, more desperate, because I was learning that love in my world is conditional. It's allowed. Until it isn't, it matters. Until it doesn't, it survives. Until the system decides it can't. That first crack didn't break my belief, but damaged it enough that I started to doubt. The second crack came when I realized no one would defend my relationship, not because they were against it specifically, but because they valued stability more. I thought naively that someone would speak up. My mother, a trusted advisor, someone who had seen me happy, someone who understood what this relationship meant. I thought someone would say, maybe we should consider what he wants. Maybe happiness matters too. Maybe love is worth protecting. No one said that. No one even suggested it. Instead, they reinforced the same message. Duty comes first. The arrangement is appropriate. Personal feelings are secondary. That silence, that complete absence of defense, that was the second crack. Because it taught me something painful, that even the people who care about me value the system more, that my happiness is not a priority, that love, when it conflicts with duty, will never be defended, not because people are cruel, but because they believe in the system more than they believe in love. And that belief, that collective, unquestioned belief, is stronger than any individual desire. So I was alone, completely alone, in wanting to protect something no one else valued. That crack deepened my doubt, made me question whether love was actually worth fighting for. If no one else would fight with me, If I was the only one who believed it mattered, maybe I was wrong. Maybe love wasn't as important as I thought. Maybe duty actually was more valuable. That doubt grew. The third crack came from her. Not because she stopped loving me, but because she started doubting me. She saw what was happening. The pressure, the delays, the shrinking time, the growing distance, and she asked questions I couldn't answer. Are you going to choose me? I wanted to say yes, but I couldn't because I didn't know. When will this get easier? I wanted to promise it would, but I couldn't because I knew it wouldn't. Do I matter to you? I wanted to prove I cared, but I couldn't because my actions proved the opposite. Every delay, every cancelled plan, every moment I chose duty over her. All of it proved that she didn't matter enough, and watching her doubt, watching her realize that I would never choose her, that was the third crack. Because if love can't survive doubt, if it requires certainty to endure, then love in my world is impossible. Because certainty doesn't exist, not when duty can override everything, not when the future is decided by others, not when personal choice is an illusion. She doubted because she was right to doubt, because I was never going to choose her. And admitting that to myself, not just to her, that cracked my belief further. Because if I couldn't fight for the person I loved most, then what was love even worth? The fourth crack came when I made the choice. I chose duty. I accepted the arranged marriage. I let her go. And in that moment, I proved to myself that love doesn't win. Not in my world, not when it conflicts with structure, not when duty demands sacrifice. I told myself I was being responsible, mature, strategic, that I was choosing the greater good over personal desire. But really, I was proving that love is disposable, that it can be set aside when inconvenient, that it doesn't actually matter, not enough to fight for, not enough to sacrifice for, not enough to choose over everything else. That choice, that terrible, necessary choice, was the fourth crack, because it revealed the truth that I don't believe love is worth total sacrifice, that I value stability more, that I value my role more, that I value avoiding consequences more. And if I don't believe love is worth fighting for, even when I'm feeling it, then what do I actually believe about love? That it's conditional, that it's secondary, that it's real but not powerful, that it exists but doesn't matter enough. That realization was devastating because it meant I had stopped believing in love without realizing it. I had proven through my own choice that love loses always. The final break, the moment belief died completely, came when she left, not angrily, quietly, with acceptance. She didn't fight for me. She didn't beg me to reconsider. She didn't scream or blame or demand. She just accepted and walked away. And in that acceptance, in that quiet, graceful exit, my belief in love died. Because if love were real, if it were powerful, if it mattered, she would have fought. She would have refused to let go. She would have made it impossible for me to choose duty, but she didn't. She let me go. Easily, gracefully, without resistance. And that ease, that lack of fight, proved something I didn't want to accept. That love, when tested by impossible circumstances, gives up. It doesn't fight to the death. It doesn't refuse to surrender. It just fades quietly, without drama, without the passion I thought it would have. And if love can fade that easily, if it can be released that gracefully, then it was never as powerful as I believed. It was just a feeling, a temporary connection, something that existed but couldn't survive pressure. That was the final break, not one dramatic moment, but a quiet realization that love, in my experience, doesn't survive. It just ends, and the ending is quieter than I ever imagined. After my belief in love died, something else replaced it. Not cynicism exactly, realism. I now believe love is conditional. It exists, but only when circumstances allow it, when duty doesn't conflict, when sacrifice isn't required, when the stakes are low enough, but when circumstances become difficult, when sacrifice is required, when duty conflicts, love retreats. It doesn't fight, it doesn't persist, it just ends. I also believe love is unequal. Some people can have it freely, others, like me, can't, not because we're incapable of it, but because our lives don't allow it. And that inequality is permanent. I can feel love, but I can't live it. I can want it, but I can't keep it. I can experience it briefly, but I can't build a life on it. That realization replaced my belief. Love exists, but not for me, not in any sustainable way, not in any way that matters long term. I now believe love is a luxury, one I can't afford, not because I don't want it, but because the cost of having it is higher than I'm willing to pay. That's what replaced belief, not hope, not cynicism, just acceptance. Acceptance that love for me is theoretical. It exists somewhere, but not here, not in my life, not in any form I can actually have. Living without belief in love is emptier than I expected. Not because I'm sad about it constantly, but because it removes hope. Hope that connection is possible. Hope that intimacy exists. Hope that someone could see me and stay. Without that hope, relationships become transactional. My marriage is functional, not emotional. My connections are strategic, not intimate. My life is structured, not felt. And structure without belief in love is just routine. Day after day, year after year, fulfilling roles, performing functions, existing, not living. That's what living without belief looks like. Not tragic, just empty, quietly, constantly empty. Why did I stop believing in love? Not because of one moment, but because of many. First crack, when the system rejected my relationship. Second crack, when no one defended it. Third crack, when she started doubting me. Fourth crack, when I chose duty over her. Final break, when she left quietly without fighting. Each crack weakened my belief until nothing remained. Now I believe love is conditional, temporary, unequal, real, but not powerful, possible, but not for me. I stopped believing because experience taught me that love in my world doesn't survive. It just exists briefly before duty ends it, and that pattern, that consistent, undeniable pattern, killed belief, not with one blow, but with many small deaths, until nothing remained except acceptance that love is not what I thought and never will be. If you've ever watched a belief die slowly, piece by piece, you understand. It's not one moment of clarity, it's years of small disappointments until belief becomes unsustainable and you let it go. Not because you want to, because holding it hurts more than releasing it.